Hello, Myeth here, and I made a prediction video shortly before Warlords of Draenor came out, and if you go back and watch that video, you'll see that a lot of the ideas I had in that video are things that actually did come to pass, even the ones that I said that might not ever happen, like, demon hunters, that sort of thing. But this is my crazy little idea for what the next expansion is. At least some of the major things in the next expansion. I don't know all of what might happen, but these are just my gut feelings about what might be in the next expansion. So let me just first get to classes, and I made slides for one class, but I have an idea for another one at the end of it. So I'll go ahead and hop into this new class idea. Tinkers. That's right. You've seen them. They're in the game, right? They've been in the game since vanilla. You've had Gelvin Megatort. He's been in the game the whole time, right? You have Gazlo. He's been in there for a long time. They're both Tinkers. You've seen a lot of weird, whimsical, mechanical things in the game, right? Especially in Goblin and Gnome areas. So why not add them into the game? There's already a lot of groundwork for that class to be in the game. There's a few NPC Goblin and Gnome Tinkers on the island expeditions that are in there. They're there. They exist. And they kind of have abilities like mech suits. They shoot electricity. They have turrets that are kind of like shaman totems, So it'd be kind of easy to make those kind of things. I would think that they would wear maybe mail armor. I would think mail armor, depending on, it's conductive. I don't know. The specs that they might have are like DPS and tank. I've heard people throw around healer as an idea. I don't really see that, but you could have a healer. But I would think it'd be more of like a DPS and tank kind of thing with like a ranged DPS and a melee DPS, and they could have different methods of like tinkering. More or less. And so I think that for the purposes of if they're going to have like mech suits, I think it would probably be best if they stuck to like the smaller characters in the game, like gnomes and goblins and mechagnomes and Volpera, especially because gnomes and mechagnomes have the same model and goblins and Volpera kind of have the same skeleton. So they're kind of related in that way. So that would be easier to not have to make mech suits for like every race in the game. So I think it would be more like a hero class based around those particular races. So okay, we're gonna address the elephant in the room here, because there's been a lot of like data mined broadcast tags that's encrypted and like character skins for allied races. There's just all this stuff. So we're gonna go into this right here, and this is gonna play into why I think this is perfect. This is perfect for this next idea. So like, there's a lot of speculation about Bolvar, the Lich King, being like the focus of the next expansion. But so Bolvar himself isn't evil. He's not out to get us. If anything, he wants to help us in some way. That's why he kind of took up the mantle of the Lich King. He has this fiery, like molten look to him because that was done to him by the dragon fights. So think about that. That's there's been a lot of death and undead stuff happening in BFA, especially with like Sylvanas and her scheming. I've heard the Shadowlands, because that's the realm of death, floated around a lot as an expansion, because it deals with that's the death realm. That's the opposite of the Emerald Dream. But honestly, how do you get there? Well, you have to die. But I don't think that's how we'll get there ultimately. But the game's not just content to have one kind of undead, like the Scourge, which is controlled by the Lich King, or the Forsaken, which used to be, the Dark Lady's realm. And also you have the undead that are created by the light, like Kalia Menethil, for example. Does that mean that we're going to have alliance aligned undead? I I don't know. Probably not. But we might have more Death Knights, because there are data mined burning swords as well as Death Knight skins for allied races. That implies that Bolvar himself is creating new Death Knights. And then he is also maybe infusing them with the fire that burns inside of him. There might be like a fourth spec for Death Knights, and I would not put it out of the realm of speculation that another class that you could see would be Necromancer. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Anyway, so like now you have some things around the realm of death, and death does not like the old gods or the void. So I would say that Bolvar is going to help us fight the old gods and or the void. But where? Where will this take place? I mean, okay, I've heard a lot of people saying that we're going to go into the Shadowlands, but what is in there? How would doing anything there actually help us? No. I think that we're going to go to an actual physical place. And this is a physical, actual place that we haven't really explored all of. So right now, if we're adding Tinker as a class, you know, why not the home of mechanical wonders, the brainy goblins of Kazan, fueled by Kajamite? I think that's the name of it. So like Kazan is home to a volcano, right? Mount Kajaro at its center, and that was activated by Deathwing back in the Cataclysm. A lot of the goblins left, but the island is still there, and the volcano seems to have died down since the Cataclysm. Okay, the volcano seems to have died down if you go look in Motherlode. So this is where we kind of use our imagination, and we think that maybe like a fiery guy like Bolvar, he's sick of sitting on that cold throne and wants to go somewhere a little more hot. He needs a vacation, you know. Why not somewhere with an active volcano, right? To fuel his fiery inner self there. So like Blizzard's been adding all these islands in the game that we haven't seen, and I kind of predicted that all these islands would show up, like you know, Colteris, the Broken Isles, you know, Tomb of Sargeras, that sort of thing. So why not the Tinker themed Kazan, at least as the hub for our adventures, and it'll be a good hub for Tinkers as a class, right? So if you go and look at the expansion that picture's taken from, which it's a Hearthstone expansion called Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, my god, there's a lot of cool stuff in that. There's a lot of good ideas in that they could use to make Kazan look really spiffy. So like, also you have things that are happening in the game that are unresolved, like Gallywix, the deposed as the Bilgewater Goblins leader. He might be doing some shady stuff on Kazan that we gotta stop. And also, you get to show off those shiny new Goblin models that they made back in the last patch, I think. So right now, where are we going? So like Bolvar could move his base of operations of Kazan, you know, maybe like a floating, flaming necropolis. Maybe have like a molten throne kind of structure made of Kajamite in the volcano of Kazan. I don't know. Maybe Kajamite is related to some old god that we don't know about, you know? And we're gonna fight a menace which is not too far away from Kazan. And you might recognize this. It's the Dragon Isles. So like the Dragon Isles are supposedly home to like weird old god temples and the giant squid thingy. And that could be the natural progression of us fighting a Zoth to maybe other awakened old gods, or like, you know, somehow we've awakened the old gods again. But here at this place. So like, I don't know, do dragons even live on a place like this? It looks like, you know, old god related stuff. Is it something sinister? I don't know. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but they leaked this picture. It looks so real. this is obviously from the next expansion. It's going to be Shadowlands, and you know what? I don't think this leak is real, because there's Nyalotha right there in the dead center of it, and this map came out before the Nyalotha raid was announced, so I don't think that Nyalotha is going to be in the center of this if we're gonna go to it as the last raid of BFA. So no, I don't think Shadowlands will actually be the focus of the next expansion. It could be part of it because I mean there's all that death stuff going on, yeah. But I think it's just speculation to throw you off of what the next expansion actually is and where it's based out of. So there's also this image, which I don't think this image, if it's real, is us going to the Shadowlands or us being in the Shadowlands, but I think it might be like, what if Bolvar was trying to give us like a good faith, you know, trying to give us back all the souls of the dead claimed in Northrend so that we'd go help him out with whatever he's trying to do. It kind of also looks like, you know, it's from Warcraft 3 Remastered for some reason. It doesn't look exactly like the docks that Stormwind look like. So yeah, this probably isn't real. So sorry to burst a lot of people's bubbles about the Shadowlands, but I'm really leaning towards Kazan, fire, volcanoes, the burning Lich King, you know, that sort of thing. And you know, if Kazan, then why not Tinkers? So systems, like, just I'm gonna go over like a couple things that I don't think are really gonna happen, or that could happen, or should happen. But first of all, there's also been talk of like a level squish, and I hope not, because like, you know, you worked really hard on all those characters. Like if you have 50 characters, that's 120 levels on 50 characters that you grind it out all by yourself. And if someone came along and said, "I'm going to take half of those away," I know it it equals that, but it would really suck. And also, it doesn't say this on here, but Classic came out, and the max cap in Classic is 60, and then if they made the level, you know, you start off at level 60 in this, that would be kind of, you know, weird. You'd get confused, like, oh, I'm level 60 in Classic, but you would know that you were playing retail because you weren't level 60. So there's also been a data mine level 120 boost, so I don't think that level squish is going to happen. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's a dumb idea. So will there be a progression system after level like 130, I'd say, like the artifact weapon or the Heart of Azeroth? Probably. That's very likely to make us think that we're progressing some way. But I think it'll be more like the artifact weapon than the Heart and the Azerite armor, because that Azerite armor was not all that well liked. That was one of the things that people didn't like about BFA. So the last thing that people like to throw around is like, oh, they're gonna take the faction restrictions out, and you can talk to other people and other factions, and Horde and Alliance won't matter. And I think that's not true. I think that will not happen. But what could happen, because we're going to Kazan, which is like a neutral island, I would be not surprised if they said, okay, Horde can't be Alliance, and Alliance can't be Horde, but Horde and Alliance could be like a third neutral faction. That would be kind of cool. That would be really neat. Like, you could go to either city, but you're not actually Alliance, and you're not actually Horde. You're just in the middle. So that would be kind of neat, like a third faction. I don't know how that would work with Battlegrounds, and I don't think it would really matter. Really, maybe if you are neutral, you just pick either side in a battleground, whichever one you want, as like kind of like a mercenary. Like I already have the mercenary thing in the game. It'd be kind of like that. That'd be kind of neat. I think that would be more likely than them just saying, oh, well, you can be either faction. But no, I think having a player from each faction be able to filter into like a neutral faction, and those people can communicate and go to either city, that would be kind of neat. But they're not actually the other faction. Like if you walk into that faction. You know how you like things that are neutral to you are kind of yellow. That would be how you look to other people. You'd have like a yellow name tag instead of a red name tag. That'd be kind of neat. And then you could do more quests that way. Think about that. That'd be kind of cool. Right. So in conclusion, and this picture is from Motherlode, and that's how Kazan looks right now. The Mount Kajaro looks kind of a little bit more tame and like less weird. But there's a lot more to Kazan than just Mount Kajaro, so it'd be fun to explore that. There was like an image a long time ago that basically had Kazan as like the hub for most of the trade, like most of the boat routes in the game. Like you would go to Kazan between all the other places, so it'd be interesting to see that. So I think goblins and gnomes would make good engineers and tinkers in the game. That'd be kind of cool. I think the Lich King thinks he's going to try to save us from the old gods because he's been sitting in that throne up in Northrend for a long time, you know, kind of absorbing all that Serenite energy, thinking about it, yeah. And maybe he's like, oh, I know what the old gods are going to do. I gotta stop it, you know. So maybe he's going to try to help us. And maybe if you're good, you might get to see the Shadowlands, you know what I mean? Or maybe if you die and you're bad, you get to see the Shadowlands. But I don't think it's going to be the focus of the next expansion. I think it's going to be a little bit something more out of left field, like this idea. Something that we did not expect. And it won't be bad, trust me. This will be a really cool idea. It'll be really fun. I think having fun is probably... And having fun and having big, crazy things happen that you didn't expect is probably better than, you know, things that you kind of expect. You know, like nobody predicted what would happen in Cataclysm. Cataclysm wasn't all that great. It was pretty cool. We got to go to a lot of new places. We got to be able to fly in the old world and that sort of thing, but something that we didn't expect. So I think that will be the focus of the next expansion. Be Kazan as the hub, like the main place. That we'll go to other places, maybe other than the Dragon Isles or something like that, but I think those two places will be like the main focus at the beginning of the next expansion, and maybe it'll go on to like part of the Emerald Dream and part of the Shadowlands. That'll be probably a really cool thing to happen. But they want to bring you back in with like the Lich King, you know. I think that'll be what'll happen. So tell me what you think that your expansion ideas are. Tell me what your predictions are. Maybe leave those in the comments. And it's a couple days till BlizzCon, so this video will be time stamped. And if I'm right, then I'm right. And if I'm wrong, this was fun to like just speculate and think about what could happen that, you know, other people haven't predicted. You know, I haven't seen this idea floated around. This is just the idea in my head. This is what I would do if I were a developer, to throw people for a loop and maybe get them a little bit excited for something cool. So, because, you know, what are you going to do? Like, use the same old art assets? We're going to go back to Northrend? Like, why would you want to see that place again? You want to see somewhere new. You want to kind of have a contrast with Northrend, I think, and maybe go somewhere a little bit more fiery. That's why I'm like saying, Kazan. You can go to Kazan. There's a big volcano there. You could go to other islands. It'd be great. It'd be a good vacation. I think the next expansion, they could call it the Lich King's Vacation. That'd be great. I think that would be the best thing right there. So, yeah, leave me some comments. Let me know what you think your ideas are, and I will see you in the future. Don't forget to like this video, or if you don't like it, then keep that opinion to yourself. I'm just kidding. No. And subscribe, and we'll see what happens on the other side of BlizzCon. And thanks for watching.